Hello. So sorry I'm starting a bit late. I'm terrible. Absolutely terrible at keeping track of time. Just awful. Um, I'm all over the place when it comes to that. But I wanted to do this live because this is just another one of the controversial superhero movies, like Suicide Squad, um, Batman vs Superman. This is the first one from Marvel, and I want to get your opinions live while I'm talking about it as well. I want to respond to you in real time. That makes sense. So let's get started. Golly, this movie, I wanted it to be good. I wanted to be good so bad, and it's not. It's not. It's at its best. It's a Marvel movie. It's a mediocre Marvel movie at its best. That's all it is. There are good parts. There are good parts. Like the train scene is probably the best action scene in the movie. I really like Nick Fury in it. He's surprisingly funny. Like I was shocked that he was the comic relief, but that comic relief definitely wasn't coming from Captain Marvel. And I like the scrolls. I like the scrolls. I don't necessarily know what they're going to do going forward, but I like that twist. That twist genuinely surprised me because my main interaction with the scrolls, like reading comics, is through the Secret Invasion. That's my main one that I go to back time and time again for the scrolls. I love that storyline. And so I thought, oh, this is what they're going to lean up to. This is what it's going to be. They're going to be Secret Invasion Phase 4. And the scrolls are good. Very shocking for me. Very shocking to me. Also, I just like, what's his name? Taos. I like that guy. I like that guy as the scrolls. And Captain Marvel is at her best when she's interacting with that group, with Nick Fury, with the scrolls. That's when she's at her best. And that's when the movie itself is at its best. But that's about it. I like the cat, but yeah, that's about it. Now we get on to the bad stuff. Now we get on the negative stuff. And let's start off with just talking about Carol Danvers. She is so boring. She's so boring. So boring. She's the worst character in her own movie. She could not grab my attention at all. And one thing I noticed about heroes in the MCU is this gravitas and charisma around them, where you instantly relate to almost every single character that you see. And this is not what happens with Captain Marvel. Like even newer heroes, even newer characters like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, boom, instant connection. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, instant connection. Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, not, no, no, no. And this might not necessarily be Brie Larson's fault. I mean, she's a good actor. She's won an Oscar. Have you seen her in Room? She's actually really, really good in Room. But here, I don't know if it was direction or just her just not understanding it, but it just did not work for me. Also, part of it is just because she's has flashbacks the entire movie. And I'm not opposed to flashbacks, but when you have a character who doesn't understand themselves, how are we supposed to understand that character? Like, yeah. So that's one thing I don't like about her. I don't understand her personality. Um, like sometimes she's very stoic and standoffish. Other times she's sarcastic and joking. She's kind of all over the place around that. I feel like they had several writers for her, or one writer for her, and other writers for everything else. And that actually makes sense because in the credits they had like 5 or 6 writers. And yeah, I'm hoping that this changes in the game and moving forward. I'm really hoping that they kind of nail this character down and figure out just who she's supposed to be, who she's meant to be. Like Doctor Strange was really, really different in his first movie as opposed to was in Endgame, or not Endgame, Infinity War. And I really like that change. I thought he was a lot better in Infinity War, as he was more like the adult in the room, as opposed to when he was in his solo movie. I'm hoping the Russos can do the same thing for Captain Marvel. And also, like, kind of makes this is kind of a precedent, is what I'm trying to say for the MCU. Because remember Thor in his first movie, even his second movie, he wasn't really a relatable character. But then Thor Ragnarok comes around, Infinity War comes around, and he's one of my favorite heroes in the MCU. So this can happen. I'm worried that it might not, but I'll touch on that later because that delves more into the social justice and the politics aspect of everything here, as opposed to what I was actually going on in the movie. Last thing I don't like about the movie is I'm a big fan of Marvel doesn't necessarily have a quote unquote formula, especially in their more recent stuff. Like it's all different movies disguised as a superhero movie. Like Thor Ragnarok is a buddy cop movie in space. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a fugitive on the run. Ant-Man is a heist film. Captain America's are thrillers, political thrillers. Guardians of the Galaxy, space opera, all disguised as superhero movies. They all have different things. And they kind of hit the same narrative structure, but those different elements make each one different and stand out from the others. Make each one unique and make each one someone you want to come back to. Captain Marvel, straight up superhero movie. Not even that. Somebody's trying to make a superhero movie. Like that's really what it is. It's somebody trying to make a superhero movie. Doesn't even work with Brie Larson. Brie Larson is someone trying to act like a superhero, not a superhero. Does that make sense? Like it's nothing new to say. And that's so unfortunate because for the first female solo superhero movie, it needed something better than this. Black Widow was my vote. I thought she's turned into a real interesting character. Started off rough in Iron Man 2, but she's great now. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because there's just not a lot to say about it other than mediocre. Other than mediocre. And that's frustrating, especially since it's delved up all this big old debate, all this big old discussion about a relatively mediocre film. Really. Although, here's what really pissed me off about Captain Marvel and the lead up to it. I'm not talking about the politics. We could talk about that. But it's the fact that they're saying Captain Marvel is the most powerful hero in the MCU. This frustrates me to no end because I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are we taking Carol, someone who isn't the most powerful character in the comics? And I like that. I really enjoy that. I don't want a super, super powerful hero like that because that means every time that Carol goes into a fight, she has a chance of losing. Every time she takes face with a big bad guy, she might get shot down. I like where she is in the power ranking. And so I'm afraid that the reason that, well, no, I'm not afraid, I know that the reason they made her the most powerful is because she's female. She's the woman superhero. And I got feelings about that. But then they show her in the movie and she's powerful. Don't get me wrong. In the binary form, she's really powerful, but I don't see how she's more powerful than Thor. I don't see it. I mean, the high mark right now is withstanding a sun. That's the mark to beat. And nowhere in that movie do they show that Captain Marvel can beat that. Nowhere in that movie. Even when she's binary. When she's not binary, when she's just a Kree warrior, Captain America could easily beat her. she showed nothing higher than Captain America. Black Panther could beat her. Probably even Wasp could beat her. She doesn't have super speed. She can't run real fast like Cap did, and she can't even go fast in Cap or Black Panther or Bucky. Her blasts are definitely not more powerful than Iron Man's blast. Um, she's not particularly super strong. Yeah, so most of the movie she's not that much. And then Binary comes around and much more impressive, but still not more powerful than Thor, not more powerful than Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange could probably easily beat her. Um, her and Iron Man would be a good fight. I don't see how she's more powerful. Like, I would put her at Iron Man's level. I would put her, which makes her maybe third most powerful Avenger, maybe fourth, because I don't know how the Hulk's going to play into this. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess she's going to be a rookie right now, and then Endgame's going to be more powerful. But this comes in a different problem because I don't want her to beat Thanos. I don't want her to beat Thanos, and I don't want her to lead the new Avengers. Mostly because her character is boring. Mostly because she's a character that I don't relate to, don't sorry, don't necessarily like or enjoy, but also just because she's a newcomer. I mean, the MCU has been building up for 11 years. 11 years. We've grown to love these characters, these heroes, and the fact that the new one who's getting mixed reactions is going to come in and be the main guy or girl, be the main person, be the one who beats Thanos, be the one who takes over the Avengers. I don't like it because I don't have that connection with her. So that's frustrating. That's frustrating. And then there are also lots of stupid things in the movie. Lots of stupid things. Um, the fact that Nick Fury lost his eye to Goose the cat, that's absurd. Like, it's funny at first. It's funny at first, but then you realize what that means. It's just insane. Because that means in Winter Soldier, when Nick Fury was talking about how he should never trust anybody again, that the last time he trusted somebody lost an eye, that you got to keep both eyes open to survive in this game. He's talking about a cat. He's talking about a cat here. That cat he kept afterwards as a pet. That's so stupid. It makes for a good, like, immediate joke, but then after that, it's oh man, that's stupid. And that's maybe a second. That's second complaint that I have with the movie. That the directors don't really seem to understand or care about the MCU because a lot of stuff was just messed with, like really no, just to fit this movie. Nick Fury's eye. I would not have done that. Um, then the Tesseract, like when they're telling the story of the Tesseract, they left out a large section. I liked seeing the Tesseract in it. Like it's like, oh, that's nostalgia. That's phase one nostalgia. But then you think about it, and they're telling the story of the Tesseract. They left out a good 10-year gap where it was used as a light source engine and it gave somebody their powers, and like that's crazy. And then also, I don't necessarily like that they got the Avengers name from Captain Marvel. I wish we wouldn't have known where that name came from. Just kind of left it blank. Just the Avengers. That's it. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know the name. We don't need the backstory. But then also the idea behind the Avengers Initiative was because, hey, there's this essentially a god out there who can destroy spaceships, who can fly at the speed of light, who can do all this insane stuff. And there's aliens, civilizations warring against each other, and we are seriously outmatched. It's like what Nick Fury said in the first Avengers, why he was using Tesseract to build weapons of mass destruction. because they were seriously outmatched. Why in the world didn't he tell the Avengers about all this? I mean, a team that was designed to battle these threats, and they had no idea that this was going on. Black Widow even says this is gods and monsters and aliens, things that we essentially saw in this movie. But then she goes to say that we are not trained for this. What in the hell was Nick Fury doing during that 2 decade time span where he should have been forming and gathering a team to deal with this? I mean, it worked out in the end, but that's insane. That's insane. And it kind of messes with the entire thing if you think about it for too long. I think a drop of coffee just fell in my mouth. Oh god. So that's that's kind of my general feelings about the movie. I meh, meh, mediocre, mediocre, middle lower tier Marvel. It's not the worst. I think Incredible Hulk is the worst. I probably watched this one before. Iron Man 2, Thor 2. I but I put it down. It just didn't really do it for me. Like, and things missing from a typical Marvel movie, like good action that you've come to expect. Like Infinity War had incredible action. And this one, like the big old fight scene inside the ship where Captain Marvel tapped into her binary powers was taking out the crew squad, it was very difficult to figure out what was going on. So, yeah. And then we get into the different side of this movie, which I I feel like it's important we address just because of one thing, and I'll talk about that. But for those that don't know, earlier, maybe like at the beginning of the press tour, Captain Marvel said, Brie Larson said that she didn't want a lot of white men covering this movie because it wasn't necessarily made for men. It wasn't made for white men. And then we get to people will obviously not being too happy about that. I mean, when I was in the theater, there were lots of white men. There are lots of white men there. And so they go on Rotten Tomatoes and lower the want to see score from like 99% to 25, I think is the lowest I saw it, 24, maybe something like that. And then that sparked a massive outlash from people who were supporting Captain Marvel and what she said. And then Rotten Tomatoes changed their algorithm completely to fix that, so people think they're so excited for this movie. And then it got in a big old mess. That kind of died down. And the movie came out, which remember, it's really mediocre at best. It's a meh movie. There are lots of better movies in the MC than this. So I don't know why this one we had to focus on so much. But then people were saying, "Oh, white men shouldn't review this movie. Their reviews are invalid. Oh, so technically, I guess my reviews invalid. They shouldn't go see the movie." And then people started dogging on Captain Marvel on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. And granted, I do see both sides. I do see both sides with that. I see the side of they're coming at us. We gotta drop the movie film, but it's not like a one. It's not a zero, whatever it's been getting on Rotten Tomatoes. But it's also not not a 10. It's also not 100. So those reviews are all over the place. Those reviews on. Sorry, I lost track because I'm trying to read the things on the side and still talk. Anyways, anyways. So then that went crazy. What pisses me off the most though is, and like that's about all I'm gonna say about it. I don't want to get too much into the politics, but what pisses me up most is when YouTube goes and changes their algorithm to fight the trolls. Like just like Rotten Tomatoes hid 50,000 reviews, YouTube completely changed their algorithm with focus on Captain Marvel to hide the Captain Marvel videos that were talking negatively about it. And you can talk negatively about this movie without even addressing the politics behind it. Like that's perfectly valid. It's not necessarily like an A plus movie. But then YouTube goes and completely changes the algorithm, and that pisses me off so much. Because as a YouTuber, this platform should be free for everybody, first off, to share their opinion, to share their thoughts, whether you agree with it or not. But also, the YouTube company shouldn't dictate which videos show to which people. Like, if your video is getting views, if your video is getting traction, it should just continue garnering that. YouTube shouldn't come in, hey, we don't necessarily like your opinion here, we're going to shut you down. That's so frustrating and kind of scary for me because what if I make a video that people don't necessarily like or approve of, or YouTube, not like people, YouTube doesn't approve of, YouTube doesn't like my opinion on this, and they just completely hide my channel. They just completely hide my video. That's a frightening thought. That's a scary thought for me. So don't like that. And the reason before when I was saying that I don't necessarily know if Captain Marvel, her character is going to change in Endgame, is because before the movie came out, Disney made it clear that this is going to be a feminist movie. And I think any movie that's got an agenda like that they're pushing before the movie itself is very problematic, especially when it becomes to feminism. Like pretty much the same thing happens with Rey, or we're talking about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was so powerful in the movie that nothing hurts her. Nothing hurts her. Nothing phases her. She faces no challenges throughout the entire movie, and that's so boring to watch. But they're not really going to change it because as a woman, as a feminist, she's got to be more powerful than everybody else, and that's why I don't think they're going to change it. Yeah, it's just rough. You can go see it. I encourage you to go see it. I encourage you to go see it because I want you to form your own opinion. Buy it, rent it on Redbox, go see it in the theaters, whatever you want to watch the movie, form your own opinion, but that's just mine. It's not really good. Like I would give it a C. I give it a C. Yeah, that's about it. But that's my thoughts. I will gladly answer some questions now if y'all have it about the movie. Yeah, let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about the movie. I just want to answer versus questions. Let's talk about the movie. Yeah, I agree with David Martinez. The marketing was not great, but I don't necessarily know how they would have else than marketed the movie. But the marketing for the movie did really just the marketing might have undersold it. I think the movie itself was better than the marketing. But yeah, then we have Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman necessarily a feminist movie. She was a person. She was a great character, and yes, she had power, but she had humanity as well. And like you could see that balance. You could see her struggling with things. You could see her trying to understand like what this world of men was going to be like, what was going on. And because of that, because of the humanity, and because of that power, she made for a really, really compelling character. And in the end, a good feminist icon. Same with Leia. And so I don't know why Disney doesn't just follow that formula, but what can I say? Also, the Stan Lee stuff was beautiful. Beautiful. I hope they do the same thing with Endgame because I want to see the Stan Lee tributes in a movie that I liked. But here it was really, really good. Who's stronger, Infinity Thanos or MCU Captain Marvel? Man, Infinity Thanos. I don't see really any way that Captain Marvel can beat Thanos. With everything that he's shown us, I don't see any way that she can beat him. My guess is that she's going to have a massive power boost because it is going on at least 2 decades from when she was here. But yeah, can we get a Captain Marvel versus Thor episode? Are you talking about the comics or the MCU? Because in the comics, Thor easily wins. MCU's closer. I still got to give it to Thor. I still got to give it to Thor. No, no, she's not worthy of being in the face of the MCU. No, unless they drastically change her character. But even the source material, Captain Marvel is not that engaging or interesting of a character. If I remember correctly, they've rebooted that comic series like 9 times in the past few years, and so something's not clicking with her. Something's not clicking with her right there. So yeah. Um, I think Black Panther would be the obvious choice to lead the MCU Avengers. I think he'd be the obvious choice. I mean, he's leading an entire country. He runs the tech. He could be like Captain America and Iron Man combined with the leadership and also the technical things. But yeah, Captain Marvel from going forward. No, Captain Marvel is not more powerful than all the Avengers. Doctor Strange could beat her, and she hasn't shown anything that puts her more powerful than Thor, in my opinion. She hasn't shown anything like her staying in the heart of. I think Thor discovered as a neutron star, which is more powerful than a normal star. Um, she hasn't shown anything to suggest she can overpower the Infinity Gauntlet. She just hasn't shown anything on his level. Maybe, like I'm saying, maybe in Endgame she's more powerful, but right now, no. Also, Doctor Strange. I don't think she can beat Doctor Strange. Serious Killmonger. I know. What was your question? What was your question? I missed it. I hope she doesn't steal the show and end the game. I want this to be a lot more focused on the heroes that we already know. And also, I think the Russo brothers have said that. I think they said that they didn't really want her to be a part of it. I think they were what am I saying? I think they were opposed at first, and then Marvel kind of forced them to be because they wanted to focus on the former heroes. John Stewart versus Lobo. Hmm. Hmm. Well, Lobo can't die, but he can be knocked out. If John Stewart's actually focusing, he has more willpower than the entire Green Lantern ring can control. Um, if John Stewart's actually focusing and using all of his powers of the ring supplies, John Stewart. In a typical normal fight, Lobo. I mean, Lobo has taken Sinestro and beaten him with the constructs. But then I think Sinestro came back and beat him. But Sinestro's more powerful than John Stewart. John Stewart, if he's really trying, normally though, I would say Lobo. Um, do I think the MC Dormammu can beat Thanos? That is a good question. No, because MC Dormammu was beaten by an Infinity Stone, and Thanos has all of them. Do I think they'll recast Captain Marvel, Brie Larson? I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors that they're not necessarily too happy about her, like the cast and the crew, and that she's getting so much attention right now. Like I said, because she's new, other characters have been around since the beginning. But no, I don't think they'll recast. I don't think they'll recast. I Here's what I do think, and I want to see happen. If this movie continues garnering mixed reviews, and then Endgame comes out, and Brie Larson is just terrible. Brie Larson weighs it down again. I want to see her in the next movie pass on the Captain Marvel mantle to Monica Rambeau. I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be really cool. Plus, I like Monica's character more than Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Who could play Blue Marvel? Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington. Do you feel like a Black Panther Widow movie could be successful after Captain Marvel film? Yes, if they do it right. Yes, if they do it right. I don't think people are as sexist or racist people are saying, because Wonder Woman made like $800 million. Black Panther made over 1 billion. It's one of the highest grossing movies of all time. They're not racist or sexist. They just want to see a good movie and not be told that the movie's not for them. So yeah, Black Widow can definitely be successful. Black Widow can definitely be successful if they do it right. Second post credit scene take. It was funny. It was funny. It made me laugh. It was like the Ant-Man and the Wasp post credit scene. Second post credit scene, where it's just the ant doing his day as Scott. I mean, really nothing to it. It means that the cat can withstand the power of the Tesseract. So, but I mean, so could most people. I mean, Nick Fury could pick it up. So nothing really there. I'm still should. It didn't really explain. It didn't really explain how she got her powers. She just absorbed the energy. That's about all it was. That's about that really is about all it was. I wish we get Black Blue Marvel in the MCU. People always give me crap about like, oh, you're downplaying Blue Marvel, downplaying Blue Marvel, and maybe I am. Maybe I am. I'm trying to read up more about him. I'm trying to learn more about the character, and I really like Blue Marvel. I really like him as a character. I think he's super interesting. So I would love to see a Blue Marvel movie in the MCU. Um, I would say probably Carol will be stronger than Captain Marvel. I mean, Carol is very strong in this movie. She is. I just don't think she's the strongest. Um, who's stronger, T'Challa or Steve Rogers? Steve Rogers, definitely. Steve Rogers. I mean, Black Panther hasn't shown anything like pulling an airplane or not an airplane, a helicopter out of the air, or resisting Thanos and his Infinity Gauntlet, or throwing a motorcycle over his head like that and smashing, destroying a car in the process. Steve Rogers is much stronger than T'Challa. But I would say Black Panther can actually beat Captain America in a fight, because they're both really, really good fighters, but I don't see how Cap is getting past that suit. I just don't see how it can get past that suit. And yeah, Cap's got a shield, or technically shields in Infinity War, and he's really skilled with them, but you can get past them. They're not impenetrable. And Black Panther, I mean, the only thing that really messed with it was the claw. And that's arguably because I remember, vibranium based because the trains made it do the exact same thing. What classifies the worst MCU movie so far? No. No, I don't think it's worse. I think Incredible Hulk is the worst. I think that was the worst. That's the only one that's been recast. They recast the main character. I think Iron Man 2 is worse. I think Thor 2 is worse. Um, let's see. I mean, it's down there on the list. It's down there on the list, but yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hulk's a weird character in the MCU because he's getting less and less powerful as the movies go along. Um, Granted, he's still powerful. I mean, he staggered Surtur with a punch, and Surtur was the size of a freaking, I don't know if you want to call Asgard a planet or what, but Asgard's big, and Hulk staggered him. Also, he's able to fight against Thor, and in my opinion, Thor is the most powerful character. So Hulk's not necessarily weak, but yeah, he's getting weaker and weaker because in the first Avengers, he was clearly more powerful than Thor. Do I think Steve is stronger than Drax? Hmm. Based upon feats, yes. Based upon implied power, no. So whatever you want to go with there. But yeah, do I consider Agents of Shield part of the MCU? I stopped watching. I stopped watching, and it just never really grabbed me. Agents of Shield. I made it through, I think season 3 with I don't remember the Inhumans, and they went to the moon where Hydra was, and yeah, so I made it that far. Yeah, it never really grabbed me. So technically, yes, I would consider it part of the MCU, not part of the MCU that I watch. Hmm. Will we ever see Worldbreaker Hulk in the MCU? I hope so. I think that'd be super cool. I think it'd be super cool. But I'm gonna probably sign off here because I gotta I'm watching Creed 2. I haven't seen it yet, and I got it from Redbox. And I also got to do some work. I got to continue writing out some scripts. Next week's going to be a good week. Next week, one of the videos we got would ratio House of M or Planet Hulk. Well, we already kind of got their Planet Hulk iteration in Thor Ragnarok. Have y'all heard about the Disney streaming services potentially doing a what if Marvel series? I think that'd be super cool. I think it'd be super, super, super cool. I would be so excited that to stream. Hold on, I'm blocking this guy. There we go. There, I blocked him. I don't want somebody cussing at me. What am I looking at? Do I think Vision in the MCU could take out Captain Marvel in the MCU? No. No, I don't think Vision beat her. Vision started off super strong in Age of Ultron. He got a lot weaker. Like Infinity War, he was not doing too great. He was not doing too great. Um, favorite scene in Infinity War when Thor Rise of Wakanda. When Thor Rise of Wakanda. I love that scene. I get so excited whenever that happens. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to go now. I'm signing off. I will see y'all later because I like doing these live things now. I like doing this live stuff. So I'll see y'all in a bit, in probably a week or two. Bye.